What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka New York Prepper. In this video, I'm going to test the penetration of some 300 Winchester Magnum ammunition against standard half-inch 3-ply Southern Yellow Pine plywood. And this is the plywood that most homes have on their exterior walls. And the purpose of this test is just to see how many sheets of standard half-inch 3-ply Southern Yellow Pine plywood I can penetrate through with my 300 Win Mag rifle using solid bullets and expanding bullets. And the ammunition I'm going to be using in this test is some choice ammunition, 180 grain cutting edge solids, which are a solid copper bullet or solid copper alloy bullet. And out of my rifle, I have chronographed these loads at 2,800 feet per second. And the other load that I'm going to be testing is Underwood Ammo 180 grain AccuBond, which I've chronographed out of my rifle to travel at around 3,000 feet per second. And the rifle I'm going to be using in this test is my Ruger M77 Hawkeye Alaskan, which has a 20-inch barrel. I typically lose about 150 to 200 feet per second with the 20-inch barrel when compared to factory stated velocities. But I have chronographed these two loads before, and I can confirm that the velocities I stated are correct. About 2,800 feet per second with the choice ammunition 180 grain solid, and about 3,000 feet per second with the Underwood Ammo 180 grain AccuBond. So this is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how many sheets of standard plywood the 300 Win Mag can penetrate through. And the way I have the plywood set up is I cut plywood into 1 foot by 1 foot squares, and I screwed them all together. And I'm going to be shooting at a distance of about 15 yards away. And if you guys want to check out some of my other 300 Win Mag penetration tests, go to my 300 Win Mag playlist, which I'll leave a link to up above. Also, you can check out all of my plywood penetration tests in my plywood penetration tests playlist. I'll also leave a link to that up above. And I've also done a variety of chronograph tests with this rifle as well. I'll leave a link up above to that as well. And what motivated me to do this test is I was always curious how many walls and how many houses could a 300 Win Mag penetrate through if there was an SHTF situation or collapse of society and you had to use your 300 Win Mag rifle for some long range interdiction dealing with zombies or communist invaders. God forbid if you miss your target, or even if you hit your target, how many walls or houses behind your target would a 300 Winchester Magnum rifle penetrate through? And hopefully this test will shed some light on that. It's very difficult to actually figure out how many houses a gun could shoot through unless you actually had a few houses lined up that people would let you shoot your gun through. But this will give us a general idea. Now, I've also shot this rifle and this ammunition at sheetrock, and I'll leave a link up above if you want to check that test out. But using the results of that test and this test, we should be able to guess more or less how many houses a 300 Win Mag can penetrate through. And I'm going to guess at least a few, depending on, what you hit inside of the house. If you hit some beams, obviously it's not going to penetrate as much, but if you just go straight through walls, it'll probably go through several houses. So I hope you enjoy this test, and thanks for watching. All right, guys, welcome back to the New York Prepper Top Secret Ballistics Analysis Lab in rural Pennsylvania. I wanted to go over the results of my test with you guys. 300 Win Mag versus standard half-inch 3-ply Southern Yellow Pine plywood. The choice ammunition, 180 grain cutting edge solid, traveling at around 2,800 feet per second out of my 20-inch barrel Ruger M77 Hawkeye Alaskan. Penetrated through 38 sheets. Okay, that's 19 inches of plywood. That is just a massive amount of penetration. And what you're looking at here is all of those 38 sheets. Take a look at that, guys. That is just a massive amount of penetration. And the Underwood ammo, 180 grain AccuBond, which I've chronographed out of my rifle at around 3,000 feet per second, penetrated through 16 sheets. Okay, so 8 inches of plywood with that 180 grain AccuBond going at around 3,000 feet per second out of my rifle. Very impressive penetration, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through every single sheet here and show you guys exactly what kind of damage these bullets did to the plywood. And then I'm going to pull the bullets out of the wood and we're going to take a closer look at them to see how much weight they retained and what kind of deformation happened, if at all. And then we're going to also measure the expansion, especially on that AccuBond. We're going to see how large it expanded, and we're going to see how much mass it retained. This was a very close range test, only 25 yards away, so I don't expect a lot of weight retention with that 180 grain AccuBond. But in prior tests that I've done with the AccuBond, it is a very tough bullet. It usually retains over 70% of its weight, even at close range like 25 yards. Now I want to just share some other tests that I've done with the 300 Win Mag and other cartridges. So I've done a sheetrock penetration test with my 300 Win Mag with similar loads, and I'll leave a link up above if you want to check that video out. But the same cutting edge solid loading that I used in today's test that penetrated through all these sheets of plywood, 38 sheets, that same load from choice ammunition penetrated through 88 sheets of standard half-inch sheetrock, and the Hornady 180 grain Superformance SST penetrated through 23 sheets of sheetrock. Now, comparing other plywood tests that I've done, I did do a 308 Winchester plywood test, which I'm going to be releasing soon. And all of my plywood penetration tests can be found in my plywood penetration tests playlist. Okay, so if you ever want to watch them over again, they're all in there. Okay, I organize all of my videos according to the type of ballistics test and according to the cartridge. Okay, so I also have a separate playlist for all my 300 Win Mag videos and 308 and everything else. So the 308 Winchester, which is the same caliber as a 300 Win Mag, just much smaller case, actually penetrated almost as much as the 300 Win Mag through the plywood. That one penetrated through 28 sheets with the PMC X-Tac 147 grain full metal jacket and the Aguila 150 grain full metal jacket. Both of them penetrated through 28 sheets of plywood, and that's only 10 sheets less than the 300 Win Mag. Also, the 308 with the soft points penetrated only 2 sheets less than the 300 Win Mag soft point. Okay, so the 308 PPU 150 grain soft point and the 150 grain Federal Fusions both penetrated 14 sheets of plywood, and the Underwood ammo 300 Win Mag 180 grain AccuBond penetrated 16 sheets. So only 2 more sheets of penetration with the 300 Win Mag expanding bullet over the 308 expanding bullets. So that's pretty interesting. Now, again, the 300 Win Mag is a long-range rifle. It shoots at a very high velocity, and I was shooting at 25 yards, and that Underwood ammo AccuBond was probably impacting this plywood at a speed of 2,900 feet per second or so, versus the 308 soft points. I've chronographed those loads at around 2,550 feet per second. So those probably impacted the plywood at 2,500 feet per second or so. So 400 feet per second less impact velocity with the 308 versus the 300 Win Mag. So that makes a huge difference in terms of penetration. If I were to shoot at the plywood with the 300 Win Mag at, let's say, 200 yards or even 400 yards, that AccuBond would probably penetrate a lot more than it did, okay? But that high velocity on impact, only at 25 yards, is going to slow the bullet down tremendously because of extreme expansion, versus the 308 soft points are traveling a lot slower, 400 feet per second slower, so they don't mushroom up as much as that AccuBond, so that has a huge effect. Also, the 308, although it did penetrate 28 sheets with the PMC X-Tac and Aguila M80 ball rounds, after about 15 or 20 sheets, they started to tumble, and they probably lost a lot of their terminal ballistics and their ability to penetrate in a straight line, versus the 300 Win Mag choice ammunition, 180 grain solid, penetrated perfectly in a straight line. It did not tumble. It maintained a straight line through the entire penetration path, which is exactly what you want to see for this type of a load, which is designed for dangerous game, specifically designed for grizzly bear protection. People that use 300 Win Mags out west when they hunt elk in Montana or Idaho, and they possibly could run into a grizzly, they keep some of these solids on hand, so if they need to hit a central nervous system shot, they can do it from any angle. And that's the purpose of these types of flat nose solids, is you want to be able to penetrate from any angle, and that's really important for dangerous game protection. And I'm actually going to take these rounds out west with me in 2022. I have an elk hunt planned in the Idaho area, specifically in the Selway elk zone, which is in the Selway Bitterroot Wilderness, which is home to a very dense population of grizzlies and wolves. So I'm definitely going to be taking this 300 Win Mag choice ammunition solid with me in case I run into a grizzly and I have to defend myself. But pretty interesting results. Now, I did also do a 2x10 test with this solid, and in the 2x10 test, I was able to penetrate through 14 2x10s with this solid. So it's a very awesome bullet and a very awesome load from Choice Ammunition, a really great load. Now, comparing this to my elephant gun, it had about 50% of the penetration of my elephant gun. I did a penetration test just like this one with my 416 Ruger, which is an elephant gun. And when I did that test, I was able to penetrate through 75 sheets of plywood, okay, with the Hornady Dangerous Game Solids, which are a steel bullet. And I was also able to penetrate through 24 sheets with the 400 grain Triple Shock X. So the elephant gun expanding bullet penetrated almost as much as the 308 Full Metal Jacket and almost as much as the 300 Win Mag solid. That's pretty impressive. Also, the 4570, I also did a plywood penetration test with the 4570 that I still have to upload. Again, if you want to see that test when it comes out, if you miss it when I upload it, it'll be in my 4570 playlist or in my plywood penetration test playlist. But the 4570 with the Buffalo Bore 380 grain Dangerous Game mono metal load penetrated through 33 sheets, and the Hornady 325 grain flex tip, which is a popular 4570 load penetrated through 12 sheets. Okay, so the 4570 with the 380 grain mono metals almost penetrated as much as the 300 Win Mag. 33 sheets with the 4570, only 5 sheets less. And the 4570 with the 380 grain mono metals from Buffalo Bore also penetrated a lot through the 2x10 test I did. They penetrated through 10 2x10s, so four 2x10s less than the 300 Win Mag 180 grain solid. So I hope this gives you guys a general idea of what to expect from a 300 Win Mag in terms of penetration when comparing it to 308, 4570, and elephant gun rounds. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to go through all these sheets of plywood one by one, and we're going to take a look at the damage that the AccuBond did to the wood, what kind of wound channel it created in this wood, and then I'm going to pull the bullets out. We're going to take a closer look at the bullets. We're going to measure the expansion. We're going to measure the weight retention. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So I'm going to go through each sheet of plywood one by one. This is the first sheet, and I actually used this same stack of plywood for my 416 Ruger elephant gun test. So that's what these two holes are. So just keep in mind as I'm going through the plywood that these two holes are from the 416 Ruger and the top two holes are from the 300 Win Mag. So on the left we had the 180 grain cutting edge solid from Choice Ammunition traveling at 2,800 feet per second. And on the upper right, we had the Underwood Ammo 180 grain AccuBond traveling at around 3,000 feet per second. Okay, so this is the first sheet. You could see that pretty much no expansion on that AccuBond. Here we have the second sheet. Okay, they all look the same here. Third sheet, you can start to see some of the expansion now from that AccuBond, okay? And again, shooting at 25 yards, the impact velocity is really high. You know, 3,000 feet per second at the muzzle, you're looking at an impact velocity of probably 2,950 feet per second. That's just an extreme amount of velocity. So this bullet expanded very quickly, only in the third sheet. And you can see it's a huge hole. I can fit my whole finger through here. And I have big fingers, guys. I'm 6'2" and 255 pounds. I have big hands, as you can see. So this is probably approaching 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And that's just only after the third sheet of plywood. Here we have the fourth sheet. Now you can really see how big this AccuBond is expanding. Look at the size of that hole, guys, compared to the other ones. Absolutely insane. Look at that exit hole there. Okay, absolutely huge. This looks like a hole from a 12 gauge slug. Okay, just massive. All right, it's huge. Here we have the fifth sheet. Look at that expansion, guys. That is just insane, devastating. Okay. Anything hit by this round is getting, you know, put down really quick. And that's what we want to see with good quality ammo. We want to see good expansion, and we want the bullet to hold together. Most importantly, we don't want the jacket to separate from the core, especially if we're hunting large game like elk, moose, bear, things like that. For deer, it doesn't really matter, but look at the size of this hole now, guys. Only in the fifth sheet. Okay, look at that. I can fit my whole thumb in this hole. That is just insane, guys. That's what makes the 30 caliber Magnums so potent, okay? It's a small bullet, but that high velocity makes them expand to extreme levels and cause huge wound channels. Okay, look at that exit hole compared to my thumb. That's a 1-inch diameter hole there, guys. Here we have the sixth sheet. Okay, ignore this one. This is the 416 Ruger TSX. Sixth sheet, huge hole, as you can see. Okay, massive hole here. This is approaching probably 1.25 inches in diameter now. Here we have the 7th sheet. Okay, still going. Here we have the 8th sheet. Here we have the 9th sheet. You can see that the holes are starting to get smaller now, because remember that AccuBond stopped in the 16th sheet, so it's already achieved its maximum expansion. But what's interesting, guys, is here's the elephant gun expanding bullet. This is the Triple Shock X 400 grain 416 Ruger bullet. This is a 40 caliber bullet here, and the holes are pretty much the same size. Okay, so here you have the 300 Win Mag AccuBond, 180 grain AccuBond, and here you have the 416 Ruger elephant gun with the 400 grain expanding bullet, solid copper expanding bullet. I mean, the holes are pretty much the same size, even though this is much more powerful and a much larger caliber. And that's what really makes those 30 caliber Magnums a very potent cartridge. Okay, any 30 caliber Magnum, even a 30-06, it's a very potent cartridge for its size due to the extreme expansion caused by high velocity. Here we have sheet number 10. Okay, sheet number 11. You can see the hole is starting to get smaller now. Okay, the 180 grain solid is still going. Sheet number 12. Okay, you can see some chunks of lead in there. Okay, you can see some little bits of lead. The solid's still going through. Here we have sheet 13. Sheet number 14. You can see a lot of lead fragments in here embedded into the wood. Okay, check that out. We got some more lead fragments here in the 14th sheet from that 180 grain AccuBond. Here we have the 15th sheet. A lot of lead fragments in this one. Okay, look at that. A lot of lead in there. Okay, there's the exit hole. Look at all the lead. And then here we have the 16th sheet, and our bullet is stuck in this sheet. Okay, and interestingly, it's still in a nose forward position. It did not tumble. Okay, as you can see, it's flat right there. Okay, still in a nose forward position. That's exactly what we want to see. Okay, from a good premium hunting bullet, you want to see that nose remain in a forward position. Okay, as you can see. So very impressed by that. I love AccuBonds. I think they're a great bullet. And here's the 17th sheet. Look at that huge dent that the AccuBond left in the 17th sheet. Solid, still going. Here we have the 18th sheet. 19th sheet. Here's the 20th sheet. There's the solid, still going through. 21st sheet, solid, still going through. 22nd sheet. 23rd sheet. 24th sheet, solid, still going through. Here's the 25th sheet. There's the solid going through that hole there. 26th sheet. 27th sheet. 28th sheet. 29th sheet. 30th sheet. 31st. 32nd. 33rd. 34th. 35th, 36th sheet, and then here we have the 37th sheet. And these three sheets are all stuck together because, as you see, the bullet is holding them together. There's the base of the bullet, that 180 grain solid. I absolutely love this bullet, but it's holding these three sheets together. So this is the 37th sheet, 38th sheet, 39th sheet. So I'm saying it penetrated through 38 sheets. So I'm going to pull these bullets out of the wood now, and we're going to take a closer look. We're going to see what kind of weight retention we got, what kind of expansion we got, and whether these bullets stayed together and what they look like after penetrating all that plywood. So stay tuned. And here we have the 38th sheet. The back of the 38th sheet, you can see the nose of that 180 grain solid. It's still in a nose forward position. It just shot through all that wood like a laser. Look at that. So impressive. Amazing bullet here, guys. Look at that. And the base is in the 37th sheet. Okay, so I'm going to pull this out now, and let's take a closer look. All right, guys. I extracted the bullets from the plywood. I want to give you a close-up look. Here's the 180 grain AccuBond, and you can see it expanded in a pretty extreme way, and it's just this massive ball of lead now mixed with some pieces of plywood. But look at that, guys. Perfect expansion, uniform expansion. Look at that. Perfect. There's a bunch of this plywood kind of mixed in with the lead here, but you can see that the jacket and the core stayed together. The bonding process worked, and the core and the jacket stayed together. And here we have the 180 grain cutting edge solid. You can see it maintained its shape perfectly. The nose deformed just a little bit. You can see a little bit of deformation in the nose, but that's normal. But overall, I'm very impressed with this bullet. I've done numerous tests with it, and I think this is an excellent bullet and an excellent load from Choice Ammunition. So what we're going to do now is we're going to see what kind of weight retention we got. I'm just going to zero out my reloading scale here. Make sure that our reloading scale is zeroed out so we get accurate measurements. So it says pass, that means we're good to go, and we'll just test it. I got 100 gram weight here, and it's 100 grams. So let's start with that cutting edge solid, 179.9. So basically 100% weight retention as expected. And then now the really interesting one is the AccuBond. Let's see what kind of weight retention we got with that. 173.4 grains. So that's really good, guys. That's almost 90. That's probably 97% weight retention. So that's really good. Now, I don't know how accurate this measurement is because there is a lot of this plywood mixed in. As you can see, there's a lot of this, these like splinters here, okay, mixed in with the lead. So that could throw off the measurement here, but still, that's very impressive. And let's measure the expansion now. So here we have our calipers from Frankfurt Arsenal. Look at that expansion, guys. If we just take the narrowest part, it's still over a ½ inch of expansion, okay? If we go further out, you can see 0.6 inches. And the widest part appears to be 0.63 inches. 0.68 inches. Look at that, guys. That is just insane for a 30 caliber bullet to basically double its diameter. Really, really impressive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to my channel for more ballistics tests like this. And as always, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.